Hi, everyone. Welcome to the November meeting of Citizens Climate Lobby. I'm Flannery Winchester, CCL's Vice President of Communication, and I'm hosting today's Action Hour alongside quite a few of our other staff members who you will see during the meeting today. So, it's been a big week. First, I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you to everyone who is here on the call right now, who was able to make the space and find the energy for community and for action today. Thank you for all the incredible work you did in your chapters to reach out to climate voters and to lift up the issue of climate change during this election cycle. And thank you in advance for everything that I know you will do to keep this vital work going. Persistence has always been one of the hallmarks of CCL, keeping at it, pushing for the change we know we need, no matter how steep the climb. That said, it is not always easy on days like this when things we work for are at risk in new ways. But today is evidence that we keep showing up, even when it's hard. So I want to share a quote that I've seen being passed around in recent days that's from author Rebecca Solnit. So she talks about first feeling all the emotions you need to feel, but then she points out there is no alternative to persevering, and that does not require you to feel good. You can keep walking, whether it's sunny or raining. Take care of yourself, and remember that taking care of something else is an important part of taking care of yourself, because you are interwoven with the 10 trillion things in this single garment of destiny that has been stained and torn, but is still being woven and mended and washed. So, in the spirit of taking care of something else to take care of ourselves, we're here today on behalf of our climate, on behalf of the livable world that we want for ourselves, our kids, and all future generations. So again, thank you for being here. So I'll hand things over now to Rachel Carestis, CCL's Executive Director, to say a little more. Rachel?
Thanks, Flan, and hi, everyone. Great to see you all virtually. I've actually got some special guests with me, and there's actually a few others here in the room. We actually have the Q4 board meeting of CCL and CCE is actually taking place today. And we're already like an hour over our agenda, behind our agenda, because we've been spending so much time talking about the election and what we're going to do as a result of this moment. And I just want you all to know that we feel like we are ready with all of your help and support to rise to that challenge. And I'm very excited to see all of you here on the call today, because we're going to do a lot of things that are action oriented and are going to prepare us for future success. One thing I want to say as we start off here, I think to hopefully level set for folks, is a good thing to remember is that climate wasn't a central issue in this campaign. So regardless of who won or who lost, it's important to remember that this wasn't voters specifically rejecting any of our proposals or voting on climate change. So that, I think, is a really important thing for us to remember. This wasn't a rebuke of our agenda. That said, we're still going to need to organize in different ways under a Trump administration than we would if there was a Harris administration. And again, that's what we've been spending a lot of time talking about today. Solving climate is still our top priority, and you may see a shift in our messaging as we begin to adjust to this new reality. For example, we may talk a lot more about the economic impacts or the burden on the economy from climate change. We might find some unique lanes there. And you may also see us show up on this front in other fights that might be new. For us, we're going to have to see what happens in this new Congress and in this new administration. But we know our grassroots power and our strategy can be so powerful against any new and unprecedented threat. And we will keep an eye on all of those things. So no matter what happens in this next Congress and this next administration, our bipartisan approach is our advantage. And we're going to continue that long history of working respectfully across the aisle, because that really is what has given us a seat at the table with lawmakers in both parties. And that's really where we have earned our respect. And, I was talking with the team internally over the last few days, and I'd said one of the things I learned from the first Trump administration is like, there's going to be a lot that happens very quickly. There was a lot of chaos last time. There was a lot of effort to shock and to distract. And the key to success is to not get distracted. The key to victory is discipline and focus. So we have to make sure that we know who we are, what we stand for, and what we're fighting for. There are other issues out there that we care about. There will be other groups working on other issues and other fronts of important fights. We have to focus on what we do best and what our issues are, and to trust those folks who are focused on other issues that we care about will lead those fights. We know we have to hit the ground running, and we really want you all to run with us. So that's what we're doing on the call today, and that's what we're doing here at the board meeting. So actually what I'd like to do is introduce our two board chairs, Sandy Kirtland Turner, who's chair of the CCE board, and Zori Zimmerman, who's chair of the CCL board. And I'll let them actually say a quick greeting to you all.
Yes, we're so happy to be here. And to add to Flannery's thank yous, I wanted to say thank you on behalf of Zori and I as well for all you're doing today and all that you all will be doing in the coming weeks, months, and even years to make climate action happen. So as Rachel just mentioned, we are meeting today, both to prepare for the new administration and Congress coming in. And we really just have great confidence in everyone on this team, all of the CCE and CCL staff, and also all of the volunteers, all of you, and we're ready to get to work. So thanks for letting us drop in on the national call, and we'll hand it back over to Flannery.
Thanks for all you do.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you, Rachel, Sandy, and Zori. I know it's reassuring to me to hear such clear intentions from our leadership that we will make a difference in this political landscape. We're ready to do that. So I'm sure our volunteers are appreciating hearing that too. All right, now let's get into our actions. So those of you who attend this call each month know that we would celebrate recent successes, then we dive into some particular topic, either with a staff member or a guest speaker, and then we would review actions you can take this month. But with the election results freshly on our mind and changing the landscape, we thought that the best way to use our time together today would be to make it incredibly clear to Congress, to the current administration, to our friends and family, and to our communities, our wider communities, that climate change is a priority issue and it deserves immediate and ongoing attention. So our actions today will touch all of those audiences. So let's get started. Go ahead and pull out your phone or your tablet or your laptop, whatever you're going to use today, so that you're ready to take these actions as we go through them. And we'll actually take a few minutes on the call here to complete each action together. And then if you need more time, you're always welcome to go at your own pace, or you'll be able to revisit the recording later. So my colleague Elizabeth Dell is going to lead us through the first action. Take it away, Elizabeth.
Hello, thanks, Flannery. Hi, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Dell, Program Director and Great Lakes Regional Director for CCL. For our first action, we're going to send a message to President Biden. So you can go ahead and start pulling up this link on the screen while I explain the action. As many of you know, Congress passed the Inflation Reduction Act in 2022, and President Biden signed it into law. That bill made huge investments in clean energy, and it has already made real impacts by generating hundreds of thousands of clean energy jobs, giving people tax breaks for climate-friendly upgrades to their homes, and putting America on a path to significantly less pollution. But as we've mentioned already on this call, President-elect Trump has campaigned on rolling back this legislation. So today we want to both appreciate President Biden for championing and signing that bill, express our concern about the Trump administration's approach to the climate issue, and urge as much climate action as possible before President Biden leaves office. So on the screen, you see a short link, which will take you to a Write to the President tool. You can go there on your laptop or phone. It's already populated with a message, and the message reads, "Dear President Biden, I'm writing with a message of appreciation for the steps your administration has taken to address climate change in the last 4 years. The climate measures in the Inflation Reduction Act represent the largest climate investment in U.S. history. Since you signed that bill into law, it has had real positive impacts in communities like mine all around the country. Savings on household energy upgrades, new clean energy jobs, and more. With former President Trump set to take office in January, I am concerned that his administration will not treat climate action as a high priority. Therefore, I ask that you do everything you can to support climate action through the end of your administration and the 118th Congress. Thank you. Now, that's the template message, but customization is a great way to help your message stand out. You can adjust the subject line and add some personal details. Has your community particularly benefited from clean energy development thanks to the IRA? Have you personally taken advantage of tax credits or rebates for electric appliances or other climate-friendly home upgrades? Or perhaps you just want to share why climate change matters to you personally. You can share any of that to customize your message, and you'll see a customization score as you go along. So we'll give you a few minutes now to send your messages, and then we'll come back together. So you've got 3 minutes, and if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A, and we'll do our best to help. All right, folks, that's been 3 minutes. If you didn't finish yet, jot down that short link and send your message sometime today. Thank you for making sure the administration hears loud and clear that we appreciate what's been done so far, but we still need the pedal to the metal on climate action in these last few weeks. Now I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Ben Pendergrass, for our next action.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today and taking some time out of your Saturday. I'm CCL's Vice President of Government Affairs, Ben Pendergrass. While some votes are still being counted for congressional seats, we pretty much know the outcome of this election. And as has been stated earlier, with these results, there are going to come some new challenges for the climate, but also some new opportunities. For many years, we've staked out a bipartisan lane that ensures no matter who controls Congress or the administration, we can still have a voice. And that is because of the hard work you've done for many, many years. We have grown the space for productive dialogue around climate with both parties. We have passed bills with Republican majorities and Democratic majorities, and Republican administrations and Democratic administrations. And we are going to continue to do just that. There's some things that we will have to defend, like the most important provisions of the IRA, but we can't just play defense. We must continue to pass policies that bring clean energy online, reduce emissions, help protect our forests, and pull carbon pollution out of the atmosphere. We will not be sitting on the sidelines for this coming Congress. So for our next action, I ask that you register for our fall conference, where we will take a deeper dive into what we can still accomplish this session of Congress in the lame duck and what we hope to get done in the next session of Congress. I think it's worth stopping for a moment to remember 8 years ago, during the first Trump administration, we helped the Climate Solutions Caucus grow from just a few members to nearly 100. The first bipartisan carbon pricing bill was introduced, and some of the first bills were signed into law that CCL had advocated for were all accomplished in the previous Trump administration. I have to tell you, we've been planning for every election outcome, so we are ready for these new challenges. Please join me in December as we finish out this session of Congress strong and we start to lay the groundwork for our work in the next session of Congress. And I'll turn it over to you, Flannery.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. So yes, our second action today is for everybody to register for the fall conference, because one of the big things we'll be doing there is hearing more from Ben about exactly how we're going to operate in this landscape, how we're going to make the most of our lobby meetings coming up in a couple weeks. So this is a free event, takes place online the weekend of December 6th and 7th. You can pick and choose the sessions you attend according to your schedule that weekend, so please do plan to join us. We'll give you a few minutes now to pull up the registration page and sign up, and then we'll come back together. All right. right, folks, that's our time on that action. I will give a little shout out to Luke in Colorado, who said in the Q&A, not to brag too much, but I have already registered and organized a chapter watch party. So good on you, Luke. And hope everybody else had a chance to get their information in, and we're looking forward to seeing you in December. And thanks again to Ben for giving us those early insights. And I know we're all looking forward to hearing more of the game plan at the conference. Okay, now I'll pass it over to my colleague Susan Adams for our third action of the day. Susan?
Excellent. Well, hi everyone. I'm Susan Adams. I am CCL's Third Coast Regional Director. And so if you've been a CCL volunteer for any length of time, or if you've ever just casually met one in passing, you know that we're a very special group. We're tenacious. We eat hard things for breakfast. We're not intimidated by tough challenges. So we're here to tell Congress that our mission stands strong. We're advocating for bold bipartisan climate action. We're committed to protecting our planet, and we're going to do it with their help. So today we're going to send them a message to make sure they remember that. And we're going to write to Congress. So momentarily on the screen, you're going to see a short link, which will take you to a Write to Congress tool. You've maybe already used it before. I'll give you a second to pull that up on your laptop or your phone or whatever you're working from. And we're going to put the link in the chat for you there. All right, so once you get to that tool, you're going to see that it's already populated with a message that reads, Dear Member of Congress, now that we're past Election Day, I wanted to reach out and share that when I voted, climate change was one of the issues that was top of mind for me. I think it's vitally important that elected officials at every level do more to address climate change. Extreme weather and rising temperatures are already hurting red states and blue states alike, and we need lawmakers like you to step up with solutions. I hope over the final weeks of this Congress, you and your colleagues will work together to prioritize climate action. And so remember, like before with the action that Elizabeth led, customization is a really great way to make sure that your message stands out. So for this message, maybe add a sentence about why climate change is on your mind in particular, something about how it impacts you, your family, your community. So I live in Texas. I might mention that we just had the hottest October on record, or that severe heat waves are causing more frequent droughts and intensified storms. And that's straining our water resources and it's hard on agriculture and infrastructure across the state. So, and just as another side note, remember that these messages are going to your current member of Congress. So if someone new was just elected, they will not be sworn in until January. So these messages are for your current representatives and senators who are still in their seats through the end of this Congress, regardless of those outcomes. Okay? So now we'll just give you a few minutes to send your messages, and then we'll come back together. You've got 3 minutes here, so just write like the wind. And if you have any questions, put them in the QA and we'll be sure to help you. All right, folks, that has been 3 minutes, believe it or not. So if you didn't finish, just jot down that short link and send your message sometime today. Thank you for making it crystal clear to Congress that voters care about climate change, and now is the time for action. And now I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Alysa Tennant, for our next action. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Hi, everybody. I'm Alysa Tennant. I'm CCL's Content Marketing Manager. And for our next action, we are going to head on over to social media. So for better or for worse, social media is one of the major ways that people get their news and information these days. So it helps our cause to insert more talk of climate change and climate solutions into the dialogue, especially this week where social media has been maybe a scary place for a lot of people. So today you have 2 options for this action. The first option is our plug and play option. So we have a page on CCL's website, our Spread the Word page, and you can share one of CCL's own posts from that page. They're all really good, I promise. You can go to cclusa.org/STW, spread the word, and find our recent posts across the major social media platforms, mainly Facebook and Instagram, but we have a couple in there from other platforms. You'll find things like our public statement on the election results, our recent Instagram videos, graphics about public opinion numbers on climate, political topics, et cetera, et cetera. So you can click on any of those on that page, and it will take you to the social media platform to share that post on your own profile. This is a good action because it helps get CCL's messages, our name, and the issue of climate change out there further in public conversation without being like a very heavy lift from you. So that is your easy plug and play option. And the second option is to write your own post. So we've sketched out a little template you can use to craft a post, which is on the screen here. So I'm worried about climate change. I've already seen, name some impacts that you've seen in my area, and I hope to see our elected leaders at all levels take the issue seriously. As a volunteer with Citizens Climate Lobby, I'll keep pushing Congress to do their part, including, and then tag or name your incoming member of Congress. So if you like to put the post in the context of the election results, you can also mention that in a way that you feel is helpful. Just keep in mind CCL's values of respect, appreciation, and gratitude when you're communicating on social media. And you can rephrase these ideas in your own words so they sound like you. I actually recommend that. That's kind of what social media is for. It's a conversation between you and your network. But that's the gist of the message. So we will drop that message in the chat for those of you who would like to use it as a guide. So again, a post like this prompts your friends and your connections to think about climate change just in the course of their day-to-day life as they're scrolling through, and that raises the salience of the issue and contributes to more and more political will to address it. So I'm actually going to make a post on LinkedIn. I think that's a kind of underrated network for climate messaging. And let's all take a few minutes to either share one of CCL's posts or write and post your own. All right, and that is the time that we have today for that action. Thank you for adding some more climate conversation to the social sphere today. And I'm going to hand it off to my colleague Stephanie for our next action.
Thank you so much, Alyssa, and hello, CCL, saludos. I'm Stephanie Mongia, I'm your Student Engagement Director, and my job is to get more college students involved in climate action. And if there's one thing students and all of us can agree on, it's that climate action is a lot more fun with a buddy. Unfortunately, we often feel like the people around us don't care as much about climate change. But 72% of Americans believe climate change is real, and most of them agree that it's not too late to do something about it. Which makes me wonder, why don't we have millions of CCL volunteers yet? Well, as we all learned earlier this year with our Conversations Challenge, a lot of those people just haven't been asked to get involved yet. And it's much more effective when they get that invitation from somebody that they know and trust. So let's be that somebody to our networks today and invite them to learn more about CCL. We've got some suggested language for the text in this, going to be on the screen and in the chat for you. You can let your friends know that you're here at the meeting today, and since former President Donald Trump doesn't have the best track record on the climate issue, there's really important climate work we need to do with Congress. And then invite them to get involved with CCL alongside you. So let's all take a few minutes to make these messages our own and send them to some of our friends. We recommend reaching out to your friends and family and anybody you know who seems to care but isn't involved yet. They're likely feeling uncertain, like many of us, about the prospects for meaningful climate action in the next 4 years. Getting involved with CCL is one step they can take today to combat that uncertainty and start making a difference. So let's get texting. All right, everybody, believe it or not, those were 3 minutes. I hope you had some fast fingers. Thank you all for helping us reach new climate advocates. Now, we spent this time taking so many actions together. Let's see what kind of an impact we've made in just these 37 minutes. Brett, how are we doing?
It is so good to see everyone here. Thank you all for joining us today, and especially all of our new climate advocates. We wanted to make sure to first flag too for anyone, because I've been getting some chats here, for anyone that wants to keep taking actions, you're more than welcome to doing that throughout today. The recording will make sure to have all of these available afterwards, and we'll put a link where you can find the action slides in the chat here too. And a couple of things that we wanted to brief you on. We've already sent over 650 messages to President Biden thanking him and taking action on that front. We've already sent over 1,800 messages to Congress collectively this morning already, so amazing job wherever you might be tuning in from that front. And we also wanted to highlight and give a quick shout out to the important work that we are doing with the Environmental Voter Project, our partnership with them. We, throughout the 39 weekly CCL Wednesday phone banks, collectively had the chance to do 1,569 calling shifts filled, generating over 1 million 40,831 total dials that were made across this country. I know a lot of you that are on this call today were a big part of that, and I just wanted to make sure on behalf of all of us to say thank you for that time and effort. And with that quick progress report, I'm going to be pleased to turn it over to Rebecca for our next action.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca Utek. I am the Senior Development Officer on the fundraising team, and I'd like to talk to you about an important opportunity to support the critical work we do here at CCL. Our year-end fundraiser kicks off on Giving Tuesday, December 3rd, and it is only one of 2 national fundraisers we hold each year. Grassroots donations make up a major part of our budget, approximately 80%. And with most of those contributions coming in during the year-end fundraiser. The funds that we raise will equip us with the resources we need to drive climate wins in the coming year. Even though the fundraiser doesn't officially start until December, we are asking your help getting prepared now to set us up for success. This year, we're encouraging everyone to consider hosting a Facebook fundraiser or a Pledge It fundraiser for CCL. All funds raised in November and December will go directly toward our year-end goal of $1.25 million, and we'd love your help in reaching this ambitious target. Facebook fundraisers are a simple and effective way to reach your network. All you need to do is share why CCL's work matters to you, and Facebook will automatically promote your fundraiser to your friends, making it easy for people to contribute. Pledge It fundraisers add a creative twist. With Pledge It, you'll set up a challenge like miles run, games won, or conversations about climate change, and gather pledges for each milestone. You can even create or join a Pledge It team to reach your goal collectively. For example, our regional director, Bill Barron, is leading a Pedaling for a Purpose 12-hour climate ride-a-thon, gathering pledges along the way. He's part of the Outdoor Industry Action Team, which is now represented as a Pledge It team. To get started, decide on a Pledge It fundraiser challenge idea. We have a list on Community to get the creative juices flowing. Go to cclusa.org/pledgeit and click Sign Up to Fundraise. Customize a CCL branded Pledge It cover image to get your fundraiser page looking great. Now share your challenge's personal donation link with friends and family via email and social media. Let's take a few minutes now to start planning and launching our fundraisers together. Use this personal time to think about what type of fundraiser you'd like to set up, brainstorm some stories that you can share, and once you're ready, launch your fundraiser right now. All right, thank you all so much for taking the time to set up your fundraisers and for helping us kick off this campaign with such strong momentum. Every dollar you raise is a direct investment in our work, and we are grateful to have your support. And now my colleague Charlotte will walk us through our final action.
Thanks, Rebecca. Hi, everyone. I'm really glad to see you here today. I'm Charlotte Ward. I'm CCL's Media and Communications Manager, and I'm going to walk you through writing a letter to the editor to submit to your local newspaper. We write LTEs because we know congressional officers monitor local media to see what issues are coming up in the community. They also pay attention when we mention our members of Congress by name. And through our media work, we can send the message that climate action has never been more urgent and important. More broadly, letters to the editor can be executed quickly and can help inform our communities about climate solutions. Local newspapers are still trusted sources of information for many people. So let's get started writing a letter to the editor that you can submit to your local newspapers where you live. So first of all, I want you to go to our letter to the editor tool, which you'll find at cclusa.org/LTE. And when you get there, you'll see you can put in your address and your zip code, and it will pull up a list of newspapers where you live. You can check as many options as you'd like, and then use the text box underneath to write your LTE. Normally, we recommend responding to a specific story in a specific newspaper, but right now the election is this national story. So we can write a general letter about it and submit it to our local newspapers. So I'm going to talk you through some points to include in your letter. These could be as short as one sentence when you write them, or you could write a bit more. So the first one is write that you voted and that climate change is a priority issue for you. Next, share why climate change is a priority for you, climate change action. Urge current lawmakers to do as much as they can while they're in office. Urge new lawmakers to make this a priority when they take office in January. So just some simple points there on the screen. You can take a second to take those in, and then we will get started writing those letters directly into that text box on your screen. So if you're ready, we can get started. Okay, that's our time for now. If you're not finished with your letter, you can finish it up after this call, or you're also very welcome to join me for our National Letter Writing Zoom party, which happens every month. It's actually this Wednesday, November the 13th, and we're going to put the link in the chat for you. So please come along if you'd like to. Thanks, everybody, and I'm going to hand back to Flannery now.
All right, thank you, Charlotte. So those are the actions that we have for you today. Thank you, everyone, for walking through all of those. If you weren't able to complete any of them, no worries. You can always go back through the recording that'll be posted on our YouTube channel later today. And don't forget, there are more resources and support available in the November action sheet. And also, you can let us know that you were here today. You can log your attendance on this call at cclusa.org/log-meeting. And of course, the actions will continue. So we have our fall conference later this December 6th and 7th, as we've mentioned. After that, we'll be lobbying. A virtual lobby week, which our chapters are already working on setting up those meetings and choosing the lobby teams for that. So the action will continue. Today is just the beginning of responding to this new political landscape and making a positive impact on it. I also want to shout out that if anyone needs more time and space to connect and to find support, our regional directors are holding office hours all this month. So we'll drop the link to those in the chat. And also, if folks get CCL's newsletter, the link is also in the newsletter that went out on Wednesday. So before we completely wrap up, I do want to leave you with another quote that I think embodies the persistent spirit that CCL brings to our climate work. So the author E.B. White, who we often reference for his quote about savoring the world before saving it, he once wrote a letter to a man who had reached out to him saying he had sort of lost hope in humanity. This was back in the 70s. And E.B. White wrote him a letter in response, and I want to share that letter now. So the letter reads, "Dear Mr. Nadeau, as long as there is one upright man, as long as there is one compassionate woman, the contagion may spread and the scene is not desolate. Hope is the thing that is left to us in a bad time. I shall get up Sunday morning and wind the clock as a contribution to order and steadfastness. Sailors have an expression about the weather. They say, the weather is a great bluffer. I guess the same is true of our human society. Things can look dark, then a break shows in the clouds, and all is changed, sometimes rather suddenly. It is quite obvious that the human race has made a queer mess of life on this planet. But as a people, we probably harbor seeds of goodness that have lain for a long time, waiting to sprout when the conditions are right. Man's curiosity, his relentlessness, his inventiveness, his ingenuity have led him into deep trouble. We can only hope that these same traits will enable him to claw his way out. Hang on to your hat, hang on to your hope, and wind the clock, for tomorrow is another day." So thank you again, everyone, for being here today. And tomorrow is another day indeed. So we'll say goodbye now with CCL TV, and we'll see you in December at the fall conference. Thanks, everyone. See you then.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Citizens Climate Lobby's training program. You can tune into more episodes anywhere podcasts are available. Inspired by what you heard today? Join Citizens Climate Lobby to advocate for bipartisan climate solutions. Go to community.citizensclimate.org to find more trainings, resources, your local chapter, national action teams, discussion forums, and more. Be sure to like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and Instagram @CitizensClimate. We also invite all of our listeners to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more inspiration.
Like what you hear? Recommend us to your friends and make sure to give us a 5-star rating. It helps us show up on other listeners' feeds. Feel free to pass on any suggestions for future episodes in the comments as well.
And together, we are creating the political will for a livable world.